demand is very closely linked to economic cycle. In fact, it's usually a multiple of GDP. And typically in South Africa and other emerging countries, you tend to see that when we go into a growth phase, cement demand grows at usually double the GDP number. That's the million-dollar question. And cement demand in South Africa is really driven by two things. One is our infrastructure spend, the large construction projects, the power stations, the dams going up. And at the moment, we're hearing a lot of comments in the news and from construction companies that whilst the intentions are great and there's lots of talk about huge projects out there, there's not actually anything happening on the ground. So that creates uncertainty. The second driver of cement demand is residential spend, particularly by consumers on housing and also things like shopping centres. That's driven by usually interest rates and the level of indebtedness that people have. At the moment we've seen interest rates coming down, but indebtedness of the consumer, typical consumer, is still pretty high. So where we would have normally expected cement demand to come back after 2 years of interest rate cuts, we're not seeing that yet. And once again, we see a huge level of uncertainty. So the answer to your question is we don't know. We are uncertain about cement demand coming back in the short term. Very positive about it coming back long term though. At the moment we're running at about 75 to 80% of capacity, so we're not quite at a level where we would consider something serious like a structural restructuring of the company. What we are focusing on at the moment is more operational efficiencies, running the most efficient plant. We have a number of plants, they vary in ages. We try and run the most modern, most efficient plant. We do things like cutting overtime, running at night, running during off-peak times on the electricity tariff. So mostly operational cost cutting rather than a significant restructuring. What you need to remember though, it takes 2 years, with the best will in the world, it takes 2 years to build a cement plant. It takes a couple of months to get the plant running, up and running. So we're talking about an event that will play itself out in 2013, 2014. So the question you need to ask yourself is what will the market be doing in 2013, 2014? Currently the market is 20 to 25% under capacity. We have spare capacity. Unfortunately, if we take note of the announcement and the timing of the announcement, we still see the market being oversupplied at that stage. So in fact, the timing of these announcements is not, from our point of view, ideal, and it will make South Africa go into a prolonged period of overcapacity and make the market very difficult for a number of years to come. Emerging market is very much a longer-term strategy. If you bring it closer to home, short-term, emerging markets for us means sub-Saharan Africa, and particularly the countries around us. So currently we're very strong in South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe. If you think of the countries around that, Mozambique, Zambia, Tanzania, Malawi, even the DRC, countries like Uganda, Kenya, those are particular areas of interest for us, and we're doing a lot of work on seeing if we can get involved by purchasing existing operations and also looking at putting up greenfield facilities where there are pockets of demand and where the economics suggest to us that more cement is going to be needed in the future.